Well, good morning, guys. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and I thought I'd just take a little bit of time, walk around. And, after a mistake I made on video the other day, I think I'm going to just take a few moments and tell you all about some of the mistakes we've made since we've been doing chickens. And hopefully, you guys won't repeat some of the mistakes we've done. But the first one isn't chicken related, but it is a mistake I made on camera the other day. So let's jump right over to that. So this first one's more of a retraction of something I said the other day, and I was sitting there talking about how the Easter lilies were blooming. Well, somebody pointed out to me that those aren't Easter lilies; those are daffodils. And my first thought was, "What? We've always called those Easter lilies." And so I actually done a little bit of Google research and come find out they were right. Those are daffodils. Easter lily actually has more of a white flower, and they actually look quite a bit different from that. I'll just go ahead and show a picture of one now. Just stock photos I got off the internet. But anyway, you got Easter lily, then you got these daffodils. So, oh well, I'm sorry. When we first got started with chickens, one of the first things we thought about, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't do things traditionally like a lot of people did. We didn't want them stay locked up in one particular chicken house all the time and be stationary at that spot where it keeps getting dirty and they get prone to different diseases and stuff like that, because we want to keep our chickens healthy and we want to keep our eggs looking nice. So we knew we wanted to keep them on grass the whole time, and free ranging definitely wasn't an option for us because of the predators and stuff we have around here. So we knew we wanted something mobile, and I'm getting ready to show you one of the first things we tried. And it might have sounded like a good idea, but trust me, it wasn't. Okay, so pardon this mud pit right here. It's where the chicken fence was all winter. But I had an old cattle rack that I chopped the skids off of because it was kind of messed up anyway. But you could have just used some welding and got fixed up. We could have kept using it for an animal rack, but our purposes of using a rack was over at the point. So we decided we was going to repurpose something. And with that, we done this old cattle rack. I chopped the skids off of it, and I put fence all around it, and I had a bunch of underpinning that I put around it over it to help keep the weather and stuff out. And oh, I remember another mistake I made in with this too. I don't have no pictures of it, but I even took some old cabinets and made some laying boxes out of it with them stuck in here, which they ended up getting wet and falling apart even after I painted them. But so don't ever use cabinets when you're going to be outside. But anyway, that's a whole other mistake. But back to this other one. Well, we had a bunch of young pullets just got out of the brooder, and we stuck them in this thing after we had it all fixed up. And well, they kept, it was like every night wanting to come up missing, wanting to come up missing. We couldn't figure out. We thought we had all the holes plugged, everything, and it just kept run right after the other. Just kept coming up missing, kept coming up missing. And yes, we had a roof on it at the time. But so finally, we figured it out. The cat had found one little hole that he was able to get into, and he just kept. Every night he was getting a young chicken. We lost a whole flock of. I can't remember how many was in there. We had a bunch of young pullets in there, and that cat got almost every one of them. And the other ones ended up getting killed another way. I can't remember how, but yeah, we lost our whole first bunch of chickens because of that idea. And we finally got all the holes plugged, and we kept using that as a chicken coop for a little while. And what I would do, I'd use the tractor to kind of push it, or I could actually push it by hand if I needed to, if it was a nice level spot. And but I ended up, because I chopped too much off the original door, I made a wooden door for it. It's off of there now. I think it finally got messed up. I just took a piece of plywood and made a slider door for it, and I didn't really put a way to prop it up, so every time I would get in there to them, I would just take the door completely out. Well, my wife decided to prop it up with a stick she found one time while she was in there trying to get eggs and stuff out of there. Well, the stick got bumped out of the way and the door come down right on top of her head and gave her a big concussion. So if you're making a sliding door, if you're using wood, make sure you got a way to prop it up good, or don't even try it at all. So you'd think with all that, we'd be done with our mistakes. Nope, not quite. Okay, guys, so here's one that I forgot about. I found in the barn. Don't ever do this mistake either. And a lot of your little starter poultry kits will come with these, and that's fine for starter use. But these little plastic screw-on waterers and stuff that you get that you can put on mason jars and stuff, man, these things are cheap. They're made in China, and they mess up really quickly. And a couple of these we've just had, they just did not even want to work. You know, we'd have like a full jar of water, or no water would be in the waterer and stuff, and they just really messed up. And then they'd crack and break. And honestly, you can go over Tractor Supply and buy a metal one, and they work 10 times better. Okay, another one of our mistakes. We learned really quickly that we did not like having chicks in the house. So one of the things what we did to rectify that was we built this brooder. Oh my goodness. Yes, this brooder worked, but it has some issues with it that I didn't like. You can see chickens been in it laying eggs. I had one sitting in there for a little while, and she finally gave up on sitting. So no chicks out of that. But some of the mistakes I made on this brooder was the door. If you have one of these, don't ever use hardware cloth for the door unless you got a frame built around the hardware cloth. You can see, yeah, I did kind of build a frame, but it wasn't attached to the cloth where it can open and shut. Always do that. So, because the reason being where I didn't have a frame around it, see, this stuff's starting to tear, so I gotta fix that before I can use it again. And something else I did, when you build one of these, and if you think you might ever want to move it, well, don't build it in the room that you plan on putting it in, because I did that and I can't get it out of here now. It's stuck there forever because it won't fit through the door. Yeah. Bad idea. So, yeah, and let's just say I built it too big to get through the door. So it's where it's at is where it's going to stay. And another thing, you're actually better off to build them lower to the ground where you can reach up through the roof and open up the roof to get to the chicks and stuff better than you are to open up the door like that. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because when you open up the door on the side like that, chicks are prone to run out, fall out. I've actually had a lot of them that just would fall out when you open up the door. They get on the edge and they would just fall out. And there's a good 4-foot drop to the floor from there. So, but on the plus note, it did get the chicks out of the house. Okay, another mistake we made was with this, and I ain't talking about the greenhouse or the greenhouse incident, but I'm talking about what it was used before we repurposed it to a greenhouse. Let me go inside and I'll talk to you more about it. Okay, so as y'all remember in the last couple videos, we talked about this greenhouse and how we built it. So it used to be a old chicken coop. It was one of those metal coops you could buy off Amazon. And no, this ain't one I'm going to put in the link below, because we absolutely do not recommend doing this unless you just happen to live like in a small town. You just need something put in your backyard. That's fine. Cause remember before I talked about we wanted to keep our chickens mobile. And we thought this was light, just be nice, easy to move, it'd last. Man, it did not take long for this thing to start falling apart. And we started moving and stuff. The welds and stuff would break loose on the, that's kind of hard to get to. Oh, there's one I can show you. See, the welds and stuff would break loose on the bottom of them. And this is just an aluminum frame, and it's hard to it's hard to weld aluminum. So, anyway, so we ended up repurposing this, and it still had the the chicken wires on it, it's real cheap. You can tell it really wouldn't hold against a predator or anything. But it was just a way. It served its purpose there for a while. Came with a big tarp for the roof, and which the tarp ended up tearing apart. I don't recommend buying one of these type of chicken cages again, unless you just happen to live in town somewhere where you just need something to stick in the corner of the yard, and that it might be useful for that. But other than that, I wouldn't buy them. All right, so one of the last things I want to talk to you guys about today is your chicken breeds, because when you go to Tractor Supply or Rural King, or even when you sit there and start ordering from Hoover's or wherever, you don't want to just go and necessarily get the prettiest looking chickens you can see, because not every chicken is a good fit for every situation. Different chickens have different characteristics. They have different abilities. They do better in different environments. And with us trying to keep ours in a sort of like a free range style enclosement activity, I guess you could say, because we do like your poultry fence, which was something I'm glad we moved up to. Not every chicken's good at staying in the poultry fence. The bigger breeds do a whole lot better. Like, see that big Jersey Giant there? The Jersey Giants do really good. The Buff Orpingtons do really good. Basically, the heavier breeds is what you want if you're going to do this style of chicken farming. You want to stay away from the lighter breeds like the Leghorns and stuff, because they just... they're real flighty, and where they're real light, they can fly a little bit higher than some of the other breeds, and they just don't stay well into staying in enclosures that don't have a top to them. So like I said, if you're like us, you got these topless enclosures, you really want the heavier breeds, because they're a little better staying in the fences. And if you're free ranging and stuff, you definitely don't want to do bantams unless you're in an area where there's not that many predators and stuff, because they are more prone to attacks. But just little things you need to think about. I mean, some chickens will, it's like, egg laying. Some chickens lay more eggs than others, and some chickens are more flighty than others. And so you really need to do research on the characteristics of your chickens as well as you do their egg productions. So now I will say one thing about those white chickens you see there, the between the Prairie Bluebells and the California White stuff, all of them got a good deal of Leghorn in them, and Leghorn's a real flighty bird. They do well free ranging because they can fly high, but they are very bad at staying in a fence. But they lay a ton of eggs. We always end up with a ton of white eggs, because they just, especially with the California Whites and stuff, because they lay a lot of eggs. Just a little something to think about when you go to make your chicken purchases. Now, not everybody's situation is the same. Some of these situations I said work bad for us. It might work well for you. A lot of it depends on the type of predators you have around, and just your local situations at hand. So anyway, I hope this helped you all out a lot. If you don't care, please hit the like button down below. If you haven't done so yet, please hit the subscribe button. And I'm going to post a link down below to a poultry fence, sort of like what we have down here, through Amazon. For any of you who are interested in these poultry fences, if you click the link, and it'll direct, like I said, it'll direct you right to Amazon. If you buy off that link, it helps this channel out a little bit, and I appreciate it. Thanks. Y'all, talk to y'all later.